This is Eric Botox, and Eric Botox has a show. I'm kidding. It's not Botox. I think I think he gets injections of marzipan into his face. But he has Comer on to talk about the James Biden testimony, and we haven't heard anything directly about what was said and the like. And I would love. I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm gonna. You know me. I'm gonna read the transcript. But do I really even need to? Won't they tell me everything I need to
Kentucky
know? Let's see.
Congressman James Comer is here to fill.
Oh yeah, he's. You mean excuse me, the Lucy's football of Kentucky Congress.
Listen on the very latest from today's
The very latest.
closed door testimony. Chairman, good to have you. Day of. We're
So exciting. Tell me it's gonna happen.
all waiting.
We're all waiting. Boom, bring it. Bam, bing. This is we've been, all the other stuff's been a big fucking letdown, but this.
You got Jim Biden in the seat. What did he tell you? And just tell us about his demeanor.
Yeah, obviously the facts aren't not gonna help us. But was he sweating, squirrely? Did he turn the table over? Was he drinking a lot of water? Was he sitting there with a cigarette going, I know that. Of course I know that. I know that. Why would I know that? Of course I know that. I know that.
Well, of all the people that I've watched be interviewed,
all the people that I've watched be interviewed. Aren't you the chairman of the committee? You don't participate in this? Or was he not there again?
I can say with confidence he was the least believable of them all.
Well, I think that has more to do with, I don't know, does it match up with, you have files, you can check what he says against the files, so your feelings about him being the least believable really say more about you, but whatever. Anyways.
To say that, he's 75 years old and his brother's his best friend and he's never once in his entire life discussed business with his brother, that's a little hard to believe.
Yeah, believe me, business is good. I'm doing all right. Or knowing full well that your brother is a senator or a vice president or a congressperson during that time and cannot discuss those things makes it a lot easier to put blinders, or corral those, put a bit in the mouth of those conversations.
Another thing that Jim Biden said that was hard.
I seriously, we should address this because it's kind of an important thing. During the entire time that James Biden has been building his own business, whatever he does, Biden has been a congressperson, a senator, and vice president. All during that time, he was never out of office during that period of time until 2017. 2018 was the window where he was not running for president or not planning on running for president, and he was no longer in office. It was a very small window. This seems to be the only time that they, where they're saying he was involved in any of it. And even still, then it was like, hi guys, I don't know, maybe, hi, good, nice to meet you, have fun. And then he would fuck off, he had other shit to do. But insofar as his brother knows that for ethics reasons, for business reasons, if it's going to have a future in politics, if his brother's going to keep getting elected to these positions, maybe he thought in his head, my brother's going to be president one day, and therefore I'll wait till then to try and get some influence from him. Maybe that's the idea. But at least during that portion, during that period of time, if any of you had a relative who was in the House or the Senate or whatever, you would know that ethically they can't discuss these things with you. You would know that they were off limits. And if your relative said, I can't talk about that kind of shit, man, it's the ethics rules. And it might be new for a while. Like, oh, that's weird. Okay. All right. Well, I guess I just won't, but things are good. Yeah, you can say that. That's fine. But I don't need to know, what you're engaged in or where you're investing, any of that, none of that shit. I don't need to hear any of that shit. Just let me know you're all right. I can loan you money if you're broke, if I have any, but I can't talk to you about the rest of it. Is that cool? Cool. There are such there's such a distinct corral on what you can and can't talk about that if you live in that situation, it's not hard. It's like, being, vegan or carnivore or something like that, where your family knows it and that's the conversation and you leave it there. Yeah, it's simple. Unless you're Comer Pyle.
Hard to believe. He said he had no idea CEFC had anything to do with China. I mean, no one would believe that. That's ridiculous.
Also, I don't think he was directly involved in the CEFC deal. And I think by the way, what do you think we're going to find out in the transcript that when Hunter was working with it until now, he didn't know that it was part of it because he wasn't working on the CEFC deal specifically.
Isn't the first C in the CEFC China?
Yeah, China. And, he said it was a privately owned company, but he didn't know who the owners were. And, we asked what exactly did.
I'll tell you who the owner was. You want to know? I mean, I can help you out. I'm glad to. Hold on. His a guy named Ye Jianming. That's the guy. Ye Jianming courted the Biden family and networked with former United States officials. Today, his empire is crashing down in court. There he is. That's him. That's Ye Jianming. That's the Chinese oil tycoon. Let's see. I was going to try to find oil fields in Syria. He was doing all kinds of stuff. He's in Chinese custody and is under investigation for unspecified crimes because he was involved in corruption because he didn't make good on the deals that he was sent over to do that. Like I say, let's see. Okay, so we'll go over to that's Ye Jianming. You know who he is, and then let me find. If I can find the let's see, copy and paste. Well, that's it. Explosive dinner with Ye. Trump World Tower. Is it Trump World Tower? I think is the name of it. Yeah. This guy. This is the guy. The rise and fall of Chinese billionaire Ye Jianming, who built a $44 billion house of cards. That's what he was doing. He was trying to create these deals. Now, just for the record, it is my opinion, and I'm not alone in this, but it's a big. I personally am all in on it, where other people might have this feeling that he absolutely was working for the Chinese government, as many of these guys are, and this whole thing about him being in trouble for corruption or any of that other stuff is horse shit. It was either if they arrested him for being unsuccessful in the espionage or the courting of business leaders in the world that he was supposed to do because he was unable to get shit done to the level that he had promised or something like that, or they just pretend and give him a name change and then set him loose someplace else because he's effectively a financial spy. There is where is it? 2018, part of mainland China, revenue grew by 25%. September 2017, CFC China Energy announced it was buying 14% stake in Rosneft. The $9 billion deal was CFC's biggest deal 2 months later. Ye's empire began to fall apart. FBI agents arrested Patrick Ho Chi Ping, who ran Ye's NGO. Ho Chi Ping was charged with money laundering and violating the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. He reportedly offered $3 million in bribes to Idris Deby, the president of Chad. This is all part of the Belt and Road Initiative, by the way. CFC distanced himself. Days after the explosive report, Ye was arrested. He's not been seen since. He's just fucking gone. Let's see if we can find. I know it's in here somewhere because he owned. There's something about him even had anyone that makes sense. Travel Airline Group, stake in this. Oldest football club. I'll find it. Don't worry. Court playing out. Bought Sylvia's stake in this. On a brewery. What was this Chinese company? Zeman is a China-friendly thing. Hold on, we'll find it. Don't worry. You reportedly started out working for the Forest Police and Historians. Okay, moved to Shanghai. Because the status of UN, many wonder about a private energy company, NGO, Union, He had an apartment right across from the UN in Trump World Tower. That's what I'm looking for. Downfall of Ye comes in midst of crackdown in China on debt-ridden private companies. Ye is not the first high-profile wealthy China. Yeah, they went after Fan Bingbing. She's gone too. Fucking, they just killed and. Is that the? Yeah, I guess. Hold on. This is gonna drive me crazy. 1 second. The including office space in central Hong Kong and Trump. By 2018, it was widely Okay, this is the CNN article. I'm gonna find the article. It's gonna. You just hang in there. Opportunity shortly after that. There we go. Stephen Platt. We know this. He's no prince. 2016. Party. We're getting there. Almost. Hold on. We're getting there. I'm so close. It's gonna annoy you. I know. I'm sorry, but we got to do this. Okay. Belton Road. He relocated. Fujian. He's NGO. Yeah. Excuse me. This is annoying me. God damn it. We're going to find it together. It's going to drive me crazy. So, backing up. In March, Czech government sent a delegation to Beijing to find out where Ye had gone because he had deals there. He just fucking vanished. Hey, Trump World Tower. Ye Jianming bought a 2-bedroom apartment overlooking the United Nations. There you go. That's just one reference to it. Once a big buyer, CFC now a big seller. Its property is under the hammer with Chinese state-owned. It was in 2018, while Trump was in office, I think, that he bought the thing. I'm going to find that directly. It's going to drive me fucking crazy. And he's tied to Patrick Ho and all these guys. There you go. Ye's empire began to crumble in 2017. Where are they, fucker? Caesar is already limited. This is all about him and the Belt and Road Initiative. These are, look, all the CEFC locations. This is where they were trying to do shit. They were doing business everywhere. This was, and by the way, this was trying to secure energy for China. That's what they were trying to do. They were trying to buy up energy companies so that they could single them out and just sell oil and gas to themselves at a lower rate than everybody else. A CFC charity is located 100 meters away from the CFC HQ compound as the power supply has been cut. Blah, blah. There's Fujian, where he's originally from. Anyways, you guys saw it. Trump World Tower. That's where he had his place. That's the picture. That's the building where he had his place. Is right this place. There you go. Trump World Tower. Right across from there, he owned a $5 million apartment in this tower right there. That, insofar as anyone knows, he never set foot in. That's the head of CFC.
Both Jim and Hunter do to earn the millions of dollars that they earned from CEFC.
Okay. CEFC was trying to buy a natural gas processing plant in the United States. The Bidens insisted they set up a U.S. subsidiary to purchase it and hold it so that it would be under SEC rules and not under Chinese, IPO rules, which are bullshit. Or stock market rules over there. It's just garbage. So they're like, yeah, we'll do business with you. You got to set up something in the States that we can represent that thing, but we can't represent a Chinese company directly that doesn't have a subsidiary in the United States, and the deal never happened. And so they held on to the fuck you money. That's what it was. It wasn't so much the money that they made that's striking. It's the money that they would have made had the Chinese followed through and actually set it up. Yeah.
And he said that
was in 2020. Thank you.
They were always out.
That picture is from 2020. That article is from 2020.
Scouting around trying to find them investments. And then the next obvious question, well, did you find them any investments? No.
Yeah.
So, there.
Yeah, they did. God. CFC under Biden natural gas. Inside Hunter Biden's multi-million-dollar deals with the Chinese energy company. That's the thing. Okay. Deal was years in the making. The culmination of forging contacts, hosting dinners, flights to and from China. But on August 2nd, 2017, signatures were quickly affixed, one from Hunter Biden, the other from Chinese executive Gong Wendong, or Dong Gongwen, which is within days, a new Cathay bank account was created. Within a week, millions of dollars started to change hands. Within a year, it would all begin to collapse. While many aspects of Hunter's financial arrangement with CFC China Energy have been previously reported and were included in a Republican-led Senate report from 2020, a Washington Post review confirmed many of the key details and found additional documents showing Biden family interactions with Chinese executives. Over the course of 14 months, the Chinese energy conglomerate and its executives paid $4.8 million to entities controlled by Hunter Biden and his uncle, according to government records, court documents, and newly disclosed bank statements, as well as emails containing a copy of a laptop hard drive that purportedly once belonged to Hunter Biden. Okay, first of all, it's a hard drive, yes. Whether it was a laptop hard drive, a hard drive purportedly from a laptop that once belonged to Hunter Biden. It's just the structure of that sentence means something because you're establishing a fact, not an evidence. The Post did not find evidence that Joe Biden personally benefited from or knew details about the transactions with CEFC. They looked at all the stuff. But the new documents, which include a signed copy of a $1 million legal retainer, that's the way you do for legal services, for creating the contracts and the execution of the agreements and all that kind of stuff. That would be the legal retainer. Emails related to wire transfers and $3.8 million in consulting fees that are confirmed in new bank accounts and agreements signed by Hunter Biden illustrate the ways in which the family profited from relationships built over Joe Biden's decades in public service. No, this is how the Chinese were acting out at that point in time. Hunter Biden's overseas work has been the subject of heightened scrutiny, blah, blah, blah. CFC deal became one of the most lucrative, if short-lived, foreign ventures Hunter Biden is known to have pursued. The Post reviews draws in part on an analysis of a copy that said to be a hard drive of a laptop computer that, damn it, this like the player dropped off at a Delaware repair shop and never came to collect. The laptop was turned over to the FBI in December 2019, according to documents reviewed by the Post, and a copy of the drive was obtained by Rudy Giuliani and other advisors to then President Donald Trump a few months before the 2020 election. No, they got it in 2019. They released it, stuff from it around October. That's not the same thing of, they didn't obtain it a few months. A few months is what? 16 months? All right. Plea asked your strategy for a copy of the data to be reviewed before the election, but the requests were rebuffed or ignored because they didn't want you to look at it, and because once you check it out, it's bullshit. And in 2021, a copy was provided by Jack Maxey. They went through it and Post explored the chain of custody as well as findings and data in a separate story, which was bullshit. I went through that whole thing. Biden aides and some of the former U.S. intelligence voiced concern that the device may have been manipulated by Russia to interfere with the campaign. Yes, we know this. It's a potential energy contract. Projects Hunter Biden discussed with CFC never came to fruition. Nonetheless, accounts linked to Hunter Biden received $3.8 million in payments for a $40 million deal, which was a 10% stakehold to make the process go forward in good faith. That's what CEFC was doing all over the place. They will start this deal. We'll give you 10%. We'll put it in an account. If it doesn't go through, you keep the 10%. That's usually how it works. They received an additional $1 million retainer, which is the same as the $1 million retainer, but they use the word additional, which is fucking up. Issued as a part of agreement to represent Patrick Ho, a CEFC official who would later be charged in the United States in connection with a multi-million-dollar scheme to bribe leaders from Chad and Uganda. The retainer agreement in a newly uncovered document contains the signature of both Hunter and Ho, who was later convicted and sentenced to 3 years in prison. That's the part, by the way, in the some of the text messages where they come out where Hunter's like, this guy's a fucking spy. Holy shit. When they started finding out who he really was.
There was no concern that he took millions of dollars from the Chinese Communist Party, supposedly to help them find investments, but then they never found any investments. There was no concern that they would.
Let's see. Enemy search dot between the transition, email for the Serbian politics, 110, and dynamic. I'll find it. We've covered it before. I just need
try to get.
I need to build on my file of Comer
their
bullshit.
Money back or anything else. Then we asked him about
Also, you don't get your money back. You don't. That's what the holding money is for.
The loans he had from all these shady individuals, shady Ukrainian Americans, shady lawyers that have been disbarred and convicted of bribery, shady loans from all these people that are in constant trouble. That he's never paid
Americans
back, and he said, "Well, it's my
he has.
It's my intention to pay him back."
Oh, he means the dude who helped him with pay his tax bill.
I mean, he's 75 years old.
Oh, this is James.
He's had some of these loans for 9 years. I mean, it was preposterous. Some of the things that Jim Biden testified to in that transcribed interview.
Chairman, what about those checks that Jim wrote to Joe Biden? Did you ask him about that? What was his?
Oh yes. By the way, I think he let slip in this where the money came from. So there was no, Joe didn't loan James Biden directly. They have a trust that the family has, and Jim basically took some money out of the trust and paid Joe back to put it back in the trust. Is essentially how that worked out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think they start talking about it, and then they bail out.
He said his brother,
because I think I saw a piece of this part of it online,
loaned him money, and we were like, well, can we see where Joe Biden actually provided a check or some form of payment to you? And he said, no, it was through this lawyer trust account.
So wait, hold on.
Why interrupt him? Why would you interrupt him just then? He's getting to the point of how the money got to him. How did he get the money?
So the guy, James Biden, who is taking $600,000 from America, taking millions from Chinese companies and Ukrainian companies, needs to borrow money from the guy who's never made more than $174,000 a year as a.
What the fuck are you talking about? At this point, Biden he's a millionaire. He's worth $8 million, but he's is like the second poorest president in modern history, right after Jimmy. Well, no, Jimmy Carter had more because he had to put his peanut farm in a trust and all that kind of stuff, right? No, he sold a book. He had money left over from that. That's why they set up the trust.
As a senator,
he was vice president. This is after, and he's a millionaire now because of his book.
He needed to borrow the senator's money and
$250,000.
You're just going to pretend 8 years didn't exist?
How does that add up? I mean,
it doesn't, dummy, because you are not solving for X. You are removing giant chunks of the conversation and then pretending there's like a parentheses in this equation on the giant chalkboard that you're just like, fuck that. Just question mark.
Doesn't add up. How do you?
Because you're not doing the math.
How do you make that a smoking gun?
Right, yeah. How did he borrow money that Joe never had?
Well, obviously.
How did he borrow money that was in a trust that Joe never started or was a part of?
There is no loan. There's a trust account.
Right. I would agree. There was no direct loan. It looks like James took money out of the trust for his own usage and paid it back to Joe because it was from his part. That's what it looks like. It wasn't. He didn't call him up and say, "Hey, can I do this?" He was just taking money out of the trust, and then he's like, "I got to pay this back. Here, can you?" There you go.
In a law firm that created a lot of the shell companies that Hunter has. They did all the LLCs that Jim Biden had, and they did the president's LLC, Shamrock. So this
Shamrock. You mean the one that you know the name of, or the three of Hunters that you know the name of? I thought he had 20. Doesn't Joe have like 20 shell companies? I mean, I know Trump has 1,500.
Law firm has lots of different LLCs and corporate accounts.
It has 3.
Did the money that came from the law firm, did it come from a corporate account? Did it come from Joe Biden? I mean, that shouldn't be hard to prove. But at the end of the day, one thing that is indisputable is the money that Jim paid Joe came from an influence peddling scheme.
It did? Is AmeriCorps around today because Joe Biden intervened on their behalf and helped them get business?
From AmeriCorps Health, which is a
Chinese company, obviously. AmeriCorps Health, China money. It's clearly Chinese,
company,
right?
He defrauded.
James defrauded an American company. How could he defraud them if he's getting money from them to give to his brother for influence to help them out? Why would they be suing him? They got the influence, right? He helped, right? Didn't Joe help them out? He helped them get around some regulations or get them a sweet contract or something like that?
That's in the bankruptcy documentation.
Wait, why did they declare bankruptcy? I thought they were peddled some influence.
That was in the Politico article. There's no question
Really? You're going to quote Politico? Politico. Really?
Jim Biden defrauded AmeriCorps Health.
By what? Selling access to his brother, who was no longer vice president, to get them benefits they never got because that influence was never used. That's the case. That's what he's fucking talking about. AmeriCorps collapsed because they were trying to find their way into, business ventures overseas and the like, and so they were hiring people to try, as effectively lobbyists or people to get them in. And James Biden had done some shit in Iraq at one point, and so they were like, okay, he'll get us like these foreign contracts. That never fucking happened. He didn't deliver. Now, the idea, though, that's why they think they were defrauded. Not because they were promised access to Joe and they didn't get it, or they were promised access to Joe and they did get it and it didn't amount to shit. That's not what they're suing him about. That's not in the bankruptcy filings. That's just nonsense. But what the case he's making is that AmeriCorps paid James Biden for access to Joe, and in their bankruptcy filing, because they failed, they are complaining that James Biden never delivered on access, on influence that he was supposed to have. What this actually, oh God.
Which defrauded a lot of people in Kentucky, in a little town called Pineville, Kentucky.
And that's your job.
And, at the end of the day, it's just amazing to see the lack of any type of shame by the president's brother or any type of concern from the Democrats asking the question.
Take a listen to your fellow congressman from Democrat from New York, Dan Goldman, who says you're.
Oh, we like Dan. We like Dan Goldman. Good dude.
I guess a puppet of Putin. Listen.
Not only is there no evidence of any wrongdoing by President Biden, but
fact check true.
It now appears as if the House Republican majority is being used by Russia to interfere in the 2024 election on behalf of Donald Trump. If they continue with this investigation, they are simply doing the work of Vladimir Putin to help Donald Trump win an election in November. That's where we are. It tells you the real danger that our Congress is in right now, having been held captive by Donald Trump and now operating at the behest of Russian intelligence and Vladimir Putin.
Said that with a straight face,
Yeah, but
frozen face, but a straight.
Wait. Sorry, Eric Botox is making a comment about Dan Goldman's face being frozen somehow. The man who gets marzipan injections into his cheeks and chin on the regular. The only guy with more lip filler in his face than Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Straight face, nonetheless.
They're going to play the Russia card again. Every time they get backed into a corner.
Excuse me. Every time they get backed into a corner. They're not backed into a corner. You're backed into a corner, dummy.
They start playing the Russia card, and that's what.
Again, how are they backed into a corner? I'm dead serious. Explain to me how James Biden testifying and giving you fucking nothing has Dan Goldman backed into a corner. Maybe, just maybe, they're aware of the facts and they're fucking disgusted. That's a possibility. I'm just going to float that.
What Dan Goldman done, that's what Jamie Raskin's done. They
What was that little glitch? The fuck was that? Was there an edit in there somewhere? The shit?
playing the Russia card, and that's what Dan Goldman's done. That's what Jamie Raskin's done. Was
that a flash? Suddenly, I must kill Jamie Raskin. Subliminal messaging.
They talk about the Steele dossier and all that. At the end of the day, with respect to the FBI informant that Christopher Wray told Jamie Raskin, me, Charles Grassley, Jim Jordan, was one of their most trusted, highest paid informants with the Bureau for over a decade.
Uh-huh. Was he winking? Was he doing this while he said that.
You know, at the end of the day, he wasn't an important part of this investigation because I didn't even know who he was. All I knew
Well, nobody did. That was the point.
was there was a 1023 that alleged bribery.
No, Hal, you must kill Norberg. Right.
My investigation's about all the money the Bidens have
The China money.
taken from China, from Romania, from
For nothing.
Kazakhstan,
for
from Russia,
nothing in return.
That's right, for nothing in return. I appreciate Eric Botox admitting that that they have gotten nothing. I mean, it doesn't. Anybody who looks at the state of the Chinese economy and thinks that in the last 3 years Biden has been secretly helping them is a fucking lunatic.
Nothing.
This
in
guy
return.
had absolutely nothing to do with it.
Crazy.
We got a tip. We investigated. We couldn't figure out who it was.
Sharon,
I don't know what that edit was. They just kind of blew. I guess they blew off whatever the fuck the rest he was saying.
James Comer, really good having you. I think we're going to get you back next week after
Yeah, come back after Hunter Biden talks, and you got even less to go on.
you do the same thing to Hunter Biden. This should be
What? Do the same thing? What? Let him slap you in the face with his dick?
very interesting stuff. Thank you. Appreciate your time, Chair.
It is interesting. It is interesting. All right, that's the extent of the fight for today, and I want to thank you guys for being with me. I'm gonna go rest my voice and my lungs because I've been coughing like an idiot over the last little bit. I just so you know, for those that are worried, I am certainly run down. I certainly have some sort of a head cold thing going on, mainly from my travels and the like. But don't worry about me. I'm a super healer. I will be just fine. But I am going to rest. And then tomorrow morning, I'm going to do the show. And then I'm going to get in my fucking car and drive to L.A. And so there may not be an afternoon show tomorrow. Depends on when I arrive. Depends on traffic. But for our patrons, there will be a Flapper show tomorrow night, 10:30 p.m. our time. And you can watch it whenever. And I will post the link on the Patreon for everybody who watches there for your enjoyment and to show my appreciation for all the support you guys make. Thank you for the. I'm sorry I didn't get to keep up with any like super chats and that kind of stuff today. At some point, I'm gonna have a system set up where I can have a besides the credits at the end, I'll see. Hell needs a private jet. No, I'm fine with a prop plane. I would love just a Cirrus, That'd be fine, Just got to have a good, strong motor that can pull out of a turn. I don't want to get caught in a spin like some dumbass dentist who's a part-time pilot. That's my thing. But anyways, I'm gonna go rest up, and then I will see you guys tomorrow morning. And then, like I said, I'm gonna drive out then, and I'll probably do a shorter show if one at all. I'll let you guys know as best I can, depending on the travel part of it. And then I'm going to do my show and then like a dickhead turn right around and drive back because, that's what you do when you're fighting off a cold. I am a pilot. Yes, I haven't gotten my license yet, but I've been training for quite a while and I have a new school here in Vegas. If I ever get a chance to go there, God damn it. I'm so busy. I'm a busy guy. I'm busy. Not with anything big. It's just that I'm constantly out looking for the kidney. Takes up a lot of my time. Worries me. I'm gonna be fine. I don't need to be worried. Everything's gonna be just fine.